So please tell me about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Myself is Saujanya. I have a overall of 11.11 years of Java development experience,
Mm-hmm.
and my current experience is on Java development. So current company is Cognizant, and previously I have worked in Tauri, Ares, Etisalat, L&T companies,
Mm-hmm.
and also I have actually 1 year of Java development experience in on-site on a telecom domain, and
Mm-hmm.
inside the Cognizant. I have worked for a different domains like Walmart, JPMC, and Marriott accounts. And also in the previous companies, I have worked on telecom domains and the healthcare domains and all. And in the current company, coming to my skill set, like I started my career with a JSP and a Servlet as a front end. So then I just gradually moved to Star Spring Hibernate and later to Spring Boot to microservices, Kafka, Kubernetes, and Azure. So, and in the actually my current project is a Marriott, so which is a hotel operation based project. So, actually, in our project, we are using agile methodologies for our project execution. We will be having our daily regular interaction with the clients through the Scrum calls. So, and we will be having a monthly or a quarterly releases based on the sprint basis. So,
Mm-hmm.
so far I have worked as an individual contributor as well as a lead for 3 to 4 junior developers. This is what my technical skills.
Okay. Okay. Great. So now let's start with the core Java. Uh,
Sure.
so so exceptional handling.
Yes.
So what is checked exception and what is the unchecked exception?
So checked exceptions are the exceptions which are checked at the compile time,
Mm-hmm.
and actually unchecked are the one which occurs at the runtime. So we have a checked exception like class not found exception, SQL exception, IO exceptions, and all. And we have unchecked exception means a runtime exception as a null pointer exception, arithmetic exception, array index out of bound exceptions. So these are all the exception types.
Okay. So you know about checked exception how it is occur.
Which one?
Checked exception. Can you give the concrete examples about the checked exception?
Can you repeat? I'm missing your word.
I'm
J.
I'm asking about the uh, check deception. How you deal? You really how you are working with the check deception? When occur? Suppose you have you written some program. Sometime is asking to some try catch or something. So how do you deal it?
Right.
Because
So
I just give the brief introduction about the check reception. Suppose uh, you are writing the code, sometime file handling and any other kind of. So why when you write the code, automatically compiler will detect here need to be handle the exception. Okay, right. So you have given the example SQL exception, class not found exception, file not found exception. These are the checked exception, right?
right.
And I want to know, suppose you have written one code uh, by you, but you want to deal that kind of exception. So how do you deal as a checked exception? Suppose you writing as a custom exception or something. How do you write?
Yeah, so basically what I do, so I have I mean since the application has to handle all the kind of exceptions, so I'll just write the exception type at the last and a customized exception or a checked exception before the exception type. Okay,
Hmm.
so this is one thing I'll follow. And second thing, when I'm writing the code, when I'm doing some file processing, I'll be aware of it may throw file not found exception for any kind of file issues or file not found. So that for that reason, I'll write the file not found exception or IO exception. Okay, first I'll write the child a child class exception types first, and later the parent class exception type next. I mean, file or font exception first, later IO exception, and last exception types. So this is why this is how we have to handle actually.
Okay.
So,
Okay, okay, no problem. Uh, how do you write custom exception? Suppose, I will ask one question to you. Suppose you have a class A, okay? Inside I have defined one method public void display, and the name throws as a exception, okay? Again I am writing child class B extend class A. I am writing public void display method without uh, throws exception, okay? So in that scenario, that class would be compile and execute or not.
okay, suppose the parent class is throwing the exception, and the child class may throw the exception or may not throw the exception.
Without throws keyword, without throws exception.
Okay, without throws exception.
Yeah, in child class.
So in that case, it works because the child class may throw the exception or may not throw the exception. If it has to throw the exception, it should be the same exception or else the unchecked exception. But
Hmm.
checked exception we can't write.
Means if don't want write anything else in child class, so
It works.
work. How?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what. So it works because, as I said, the parent is throwing the exception. Okay, the child may not need to throw the same exception. Suppose if it wants to throw the exception, it can throw the same exception type, or
Hmm.
else it can throw the unchecked exception type.
Uh, but I think no.
The child,
Hello. I think your network is poor.
yeah, tell me.
What I am telling, I think no, because your parent class method is throwing exception and child class is as a override method, right? So here will occur as a checked exception because of parent have exception, but child
A child class.
need to be handled by using try catch or used to throws keyword. Same signatures. That's why
No, no, I think,
that's why I ask you about the check deception. I am asking as a real world example, but I have finally given to you the same scenario. You can try after this interview. You will get the exact outcome
okay.
because
But I
of
said no.
because
But I
of
said,
because of parent method have exception, because of this is throwing exception. So same signature should be follow in child class. If signature is not follow same as a throws keyword, so either you can handle by using try catch. So this kind of is a
okay.
checked exception.
Okay, okay. So I think there was scenario like suppose the parent class is not throwing the exception.
I
So but the
I
child
I
class can may throw or may not throw the exception. So in
I
that
give
case.
one more example. You are
Okay.
writing JDBC driver code connection like that class for name,
Yeah.
right? So here you are writing try and catch, right?
Yes.
If you don't want write try and catch, you just use throw SQL exception in method. So that could be handled. I am just giving the realistic example to you. Because of SQL exception is a custom class of exceptions which is generated by SQL package inside the SQL package. So when driver class connection method is written, so that if you are calling in your own class, so here require try and catch, or you can use throws keyword. That's why here is asking about this. So that same scenario you can apply in the uh, display method, because our
Suppose.
parent class have a exception, throw exception. So in child class you are overriding the same method, so here need to be write throws exception or
It is to handle the exception.
yeah, handle by try and catch. Next question related to file handling. Uh, Suppose you want to write a code for reading SQL exception. Reading a file of CSV. Okay. So in the file, suppose you have some data not have. So in that scenario, what you do that? Suppose you want to write exact headline, then you want to read out header and record. So how do you write code? Just to give the only signature. How to first you read code and read and write. How do you follow?
So first of all, I'll create the object of that file, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll read the first line and I'll check whether it is null or not. If it is not null, then only I'll proceed next.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you know the marker interface.
Marker interface.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
So how it is work?
Marker interface is just which doesn't have any, the abstract methods or anything, but it is simply an interface. But it is marked to be executed by the Java compiler. Just it's an indicator.
Mm-hmm.
So suppose this is the interface, the Java compiler has to perform this kind of operation. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of an indicator.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, what do you know about serializable interface?
Serializable interface is a kind of a markable interface,
Mm-hmm.
and the serializable is we know that when we want to serialize an object, so then this interface is used, and we have to deserialize it using the deserializable interface.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
You know transient and volatile variable
transient and sorry transient
and
keyword
volatile.
volatile. It's a okay, transient and volatile, right?
Yes.
Transient is a keyword which is used in the serialization if you don't want to serialize a specific field. Suppose a class is having a 3 4 fields, but I don't want one of the field to be serialized, then I have to declare that field as a transient.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And volatile.
And the volatile is basically the one that will read from the memory, right? So in case of threading environment, will declare the variable as a volatile. So in that case, it instead of reading from the stack local trace, it will read from the volatile. I mean, it will read from the memory because the data will be consistent. If it writes, suppose a thread is writing to a variable that is stored in the memory, so then the another thread is reading from the memory. In this case, we can keep the data consistent.
Okay. Do you know Java 8 version features?
Java 8.
Versions features.
Yeah, Java 8, yeah. Java 8 features are like the functional interfaces and this one, the static methods, default methods, and stream and method references. So and time API. So these are all the Java 8 features.
Okay. So, so suppose I want to tell you uh, Java 8 have functional interface, right?
Right.
So why functional interface is required in Java 8? What specific reason? Can you give the example?
Right. So if we have the example, we have a runnable, so and a callable, and action listeners. These are all the example for functional interfaces.
Mm-hmm.
So which will be having a single abstract method,
Mm-hmm.
only a single abstract method. Okay. So then by default, the interface will become a functional interface. So in that case, what happens? We have to override that abstract method. We have to provide the implementation to the abstract method using the lambda expressions. So basically, lambda expressions are used to minimize the lengthy code of the anonymous class. So to overcome that, the lambda
Okay,
expressions.
okay, okay. For example, I want to ask one more question related to functional interface. Suppose you have a functional interface at the red functional interface. Okay, the
Yes.
name of interface I can be write functional interface without abstract method.
Without
Abstract method.
functional interface without abstract methods.
Yeah, without abstract method.
No, actually, the abstract method is a compulsory. At least one abstract method should be there.
So cannot be write.
You cannot write. It will not become a functional interface.
Okay, okay, okay. And inside the functional interface can be declare static and default method.
We have a yeah functional interface can also have the static method and the default methods also.
Yeah, means we can write, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in Java 8, you know about the terminal and non-terminal operation.
Right. The terminal operators are the one, yeah, first I come to non-terminal operators. That non-terminal operators that will process the data. Okay. So, like, we have so many non-terminal functions like filter, map, sort, are the examples. And terminal operations are like for each, count, uh, and collect. These are all the non-terminal operations which produces the output.
Okay, so you know concurrent hash map.
Yes.
So what is this?
Yeah, so basically concurrent hash map, that basically kind of synchronization and also to improve the performance because previously we used hash map and hash table and all. So hash table is a synchronized, but since because of synchronization, the read and write operations is very slow and there is a performance issue with that. To overcome that, the concurrent hash map was introduced, whereas the complete hash map got divided into number of segments. It depends on the concurrency level.
Okay, okay,
Suppose,
okay,
yeah.
okay, great.
So,
So
so that
suppose
the read is performed at a time, but write is to perform the write operation. It has to take the lock on the segment, which is called the bucket lock, which will improve the performance, and
okay,
it is a fail
okay,
safe
okay,
also.
okay, sufficient, sufficient. Uh, you know tree set,
Sorry,
tree set.
trace it. Yeah.
In tree set, suppose I want to add null object and
It doesn't take.
no, 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 no. Just to listen my complete question.
Okay.
Suppose you have tree set ts is equal to new tree set. Okay. ts dot add null null ts dot add abc as a string. Okay. So now I want to print out ts sop ts. So what output you will get?
Okay. So yeah. So basically, set doesn't take the null key, and
No, no,
the
no,
null.
no, no, no. Tree set. I am asking not hash uh, map tree or something. I'm not tree map. I'm not asking about tree map. I'm asking tree set. Tree set also will take at least one null values, and tree map also take at least one null values. So you can see after this, it will take null at least one.
But it doesn't give any error. So what will happen? It will the item which is added to the null.
Mm-hmm.
So will be stored in the hash map the zero. The first address. The bucket
No,
is
no, no,
zero.
no. Just to come to the question, I am asking tree set. Tree set ts is equal to new tree set ts dot add null null. This is the null object. Okay, and ts dot add abc as a string. I want to print sop ts. So everything is okay. You don't tell means null cannot allowed. Null allowed at least one. This is the after this interview you can write code, you will get the answer to this is allow at least one null. Okay, so the my question is that what outcome will you get once you compile and run?
Okay. So when I compile and run, so I'll get the means first of all it will not give any compilation error. It will get compiled and will get the output and with the first if you add the null along with all other values will be printed.
So null is a garbage object, so null can be compared with the other object, real object, because of tree set have comparator. This is sorting order, it is writing the code. Anything you want to add, it will alphabetically add, display the data. So null can be compared with the other abc.
Uh, null is object and I think yes, I think it will be printed first.
No, it is not compared to the real object abc. Will give the null pointer first.
Okay.
Because of null is a discarded object. So discarded object how will compare?
Okay.
Just 1 minute more.
Sure.
Hello. Yeah, ma'am. No, that candidate was joined, but actually two interviews scheduled at the same time, 10 a.m. So that guy was joined first, so I take his position first. That is the problem. Soumya, I think that is what line candidate. Yeah, Saujanya. The name is Saujanya. Yeah, late join, so that's why I called to him. But other interview schedule different time, but it was only the same time. Yeah. So I will take another alignment. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, alternative you can tell. I will take interview. 4 p.m. just we schedule that. 4 p.m. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
So now I just moving in E to E part. So what do you think about Spring Framework and Spring Boot?
What's the difference you're asking?
Spring Framework, Framework means you can tell a Spring MVC and a Spring Boot. What is differences?
Okay, okay. So the difference is like the when the spring, if we say spring, so this is loosely coupled.
Hmm.
So and we have to write everything manually here, configurations everything. So but coming to the spring boot, so this is a standalone and here the auto configuration is done and there is very minimal of manual or zero manual work
Hmm.
for the configuration.
Hmm.
And Spring Boot has a built-in server tomcat, whereas Spring MSC doesn't have.
Okay. So Spring Boot because of in a Spring Boot. Spring Boot application annotation. You aware about that?
Which application?
Spring Boot application annotation.
Spring Boot, yeah, application annotations, right.
So, what is the role? How it is work? Can you explain about that?
Sure, sure. Like we have so many annotations written in the Spring Boot. Instead of at the rate Spring Boot up, I mean, like previously we were using three annotations like at the rate configuration, at the rate component scan, at the rate enable auto configurations. But instead of these three, we can use at the rate Spring Boot application annotation alone is enough, which will take care of these three annotations jobs. Means when a spring like the what it will do. So since the spring boot we will be having so many annotations like at the controller, at the component, at the service and all, and at that repository, so many the annotations we might have written. So when a spring is started, so what it will do, it will just scan for all the resources with the annotations component and controllers and all, and it will just register those beans. It will just instantiate them, as well as we have the configuration also, so which will provide the configuration of the classes, and also we have enable auto configuration, so which will scan the class path for the dependencies and provide the auto configurations. So these are all the jobs are done by these annotations.
Okay. So, you know about the profile annotation? What is role of
Prof-
this?
Profile annotation.
Hmm.
Right, right. So, like in the Spring Boot, we have profiles, right? Like dev, UAT, and all. So, it will take care of that.
Okay. So, suppose you want to write API in, the REST API. Suppose I want to generate response uh, JSON base, and some API is required for XML base
You want to write the JSON based?
and XML base. So, what kind of approach you will follow to writing the REST API?
Okay, like we have to provide the inside. I mean, if it's a get operation at the rate get mapping with what is the value of the API
Hmm.
and comma, then we have to provide the concerns of yeah, concerns as application JSON or application XML, like that.
Okay, okay. But media type you can use this media type
Stereotype. Sorry,
media type XML or JSON.
the number.
Lombok I think is a different thing. Okay, okay, no problem. And you know the scope variable?
Accurate scope.
Hmm.
Right, right. Like a scope, right? We have a singleton and we have prototype. We have a request and HTTP request, HTTP global. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just 1 minute.
Okay.
I will ask last question as a programming. So just you
Sure.
write
Sure.
the